And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Jedi Academy. As always, I have Mr. Padawan Frito with me, but tonight we have a special guest, Marie Wilson. How are you doing?
Hey, doing great. Excited to be here.
Yes, it's great to have you back. We are doing something a little interesting tonight. So, Mr. Padawan Frito would like to go through the Jedi trials and eventually become a master, even though he's not going to get the title. He can only sit
Hey,
at the
hey, hey.
council.
Let me go through the trials first. You don't know shit.
But no, we are going to teach him some stuff about canon that he doesn't know. So
I'm
tonight
eager
we
to
are
learn.
going.
There's a lot
Go
of
ahead.
things I don't understand and don't know, and I'm trying to make sure I am giving people the knowledge they deserve.
No, it's fun to learn, man. It's fun to learn about stuff you don't know. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we're going to talk about Luke. My favorite person behind Boba Fett has always been my favorite character, but Luke is always number two. Just because of who Luke is, what he represents in Star Wars, the whole idea of Luke and hope and just all of that. So Luke has always been my number two favorite character of all time. So I am excited to talk about this because this is a little known part of Luke's life, or not little known, but it's not as
Not as
prevalently
prominent.
known.
Yeah.
So, and it's my favorite time of Luke because it's when Luke really comes into his own as a Jedi Master and fuck some shit up, which is fun. So, but yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. Marie, what about you? I mean, where does Luke fall for you as far as characters in Star Wars?
Well, Luke is great. Luke is great. Um, but I mean, uh, my my top two favorite characters are Anakin and C-3PO. So
Fair. Hey, that's a good top
I
two
like
for
the
sure.
C-3PO pick.
I know. I like it too. That's a good one.
yeah, he's very relatable.
For sure.
Yeah,
So
the Abbott and Costello of Star Wars, man. C-3PO, R2D2.
See, R2D2 is probably my second favorite one. Obi-Wan Kenobi, though.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard when you really because we all love so many characters in Star. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like, but yeah, I just like what he represents. Like I said, as far as the hope.
Oh,
and
no,
the,
for sure.
for sure, yeah.
You know, that part of it from the original trilogy, I guess.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so let's. So basically, what do you know, Jason? Do you know anything? I mean, what have you seen or
Other
heard or
than
anything about
what
what
we
he did?
see from the end of A New Hope.
Okay,
That's all I know.
not A New Hope, Return of Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you don't know anything from After Hope, then I can't help you. I can't help you on that.
Like, all right, I leave now.
I got you. No, okay. So yeah, so
Return of the Jedi.
basically after the defeat of Palpatine and technically the defeat of the Empire, even though the Empire is obviously still around, there's remnants of it. There's different, factions it breaks off into, and then we have a bunch of infighting, which is kind of what we're into in the Mandalorian right now. So you do kind of know a little bit about that part of it.
Yes.
But basically, what happened with Luke right after that was he basically became, I don't know how he was a secret agent for the New Republic. What becomes the New Republic? The rebellion, basically, trying to take out the more stronger parts of the Empire. So at that point, he's not actually looking for relics. That I don't believe so, at least not yet. So he hasn't He's not even thinking about starting the new Jedi Order yet, anything like that.
So now, who is he really working for?
The rebellion. What's
The
left
rebellion,
of the rebellion?
the
Leia,
rebels?
Han.
Okay.
Well, Han's there for a little while. He leaves. That's kind of a different part of it. But yeah, Han, Leia. He starts to kind of teach Leia things, but not quite in depth yet. It's not what we see in episode. Was it 8, 9?
9.
Yeah, that's a little bit later. But he is teaching Leia certain things. But eventually, she decides to go with the political side. And if you ever get into what are the books?
Bloodline?
is it Bloodline? Yeah, the where they talk about Leia and how they find out about Vader being her father and all. Yeah, it's a really good series. If you ever want to know about that part of it. But yeah, basically Luke right now is just working with the rebellion to try to get rid of the rest of the Empire and basically restore peace to the galaxy. The New Republic is formed under kind of under Leia, but it's more other people that are forming it at that point. And so he's doing a few missions. Then he starts becoming, I think he finds, because at the end, is it Battlefront 2? When he's on the mission, he finds the relic. I think that's
on
like
Pilio.
Yeah, I believe that's like for one of the first ones he finds.
What does he find? A relic for what is the relic?
It's just Jedi relics. He's trying to get as much knowledge of basically the way the Force works is the more you know about it.
Or is he actually like at this point? Was that what he was looking?
Well, at that point he's looking for them, but there's a point where he's not, and then he starts to become interested in it more. As sort of the Empire sort of flails away and kind of flames out, he sort of starts transitioning to fulfilling his promise to Yoda, which is rebuilding the Jedi Order and stuff like that. But he's coming at it from a different point of view. He wants to learn as much about all of the time periods of the Jedi so he can not make a lot of the same mistakes they did, at least, or that's how he feels.
And doesn't only study light side artifacts, but also dark side artifacts.
Right. That's the one thing about Luke. See, and that's the one thing I think I've talked to you about before, actually, Jason, about Luke for me is, to me, Luke was always the one that could balance the Force and within him. Like he uses Force choke, which we don't see it as Force choke, it's Force crush. But in the Mandalorian season 2, I mean, he basically is using Force choke against that the robot, the whatever it's called, the Death Troopers,
Dark
Troopers, something like right. So he can use dark side forces, but he understand. He just know he never it never like takes him over. It's kind of like with Mace. Mace is the same way. Mace can use the dark side or channel the dark side, but he never actually uses it or becomes influenced by it. And that's sort of how I always viewed Luke at this time, at least. So yeah, he's using a lot of dark, or he's at least delving into dark side stuff for sure. But then we find out that
that's why he would end. Like that's why he ended up finding out about the planet he ends up on when we find him in a what is it?
8.
8, yes.
Well, at the end of 7.
Right? Yeah, right. Octu, yeah. Octu was a dark side. Dark side, planet. That's where Rey goes into the thing and all that, so basically at this point where he's at now, he's looking for relics, he's looking for Jedi knowledge and dark side knowledge, but he finds out Leia's pregnant. So things change a little bit there, because now I believe Han's gone at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Han went off to do, went back sort of to the scoundrel, because he at one point is gone in Bloodline. He's not there.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's gone, or at least it's right before he leaves. I think he leaves after Ben.
I think it's after.
I think it is after
because
Ben,
I think Ben is 3 years old in Bloodline.
In the first one, right.
Yeah.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, it's around that age. But because there's a lot with that. Oh my God, there's so much we can go in with the whole Luke or Leia and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously Ben's born. Luke does sense some problems with him, because Leia says that she can sense him when she's pregnant. So they already know that he's going to be Force sensitive, and when he is born, Luke is pretty scared of him, and not scared of him, but he's like, there's something here, like there's something more than just
scared of the power he has,
right? Because basically Ben, has a lot of power. I mean, he's got a lot of power. That's how it's supposed to come across in 7, 8, and 9. I don't think they do a good job of explaining it, but anyway, he's supposed to be very powerful. So Luke starts teaching Leia more at this point, so she can bond with Ben a little more, and he can sort of step away because at this point he's still not ready to start the academy yet. So he hasn't done that yet. But then he does a mission with Poe's parents. Yeah, and he basically Poe's mom,
parents,
Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 789.
Oh.
Isaac.
How does he know them? Is just through the rebels?
Yeah,
they're part of the rebellion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he basically tells them that he tells her, Poe's mom, that she should leave. Right, that she should leave the rebellion and with her husband and raise Poe, basically outside of the rebellion. Which ultimately we know what happens with that, but. So that happens, which then that's sort of when the big final battle happens. So now this is the Battle of Jakku. And I don't know if this is still canon or if this is just Legends, but there is part of Legends, correct me if I'm wrong, Marie, where Luke pulls one of the Death Star, or not Death Stars, but the destroyers out of orbit and brings it down to the crashes it into the planet.
So in Aftermath, they have this sort of legendary rumor that he's capable of doing that.
Right.
But it's never something that actually happens.
Okay.
Yes. Right. It's but basically that's why I said he's one of my favorite characters because of this time period. Is nobody really knows how strong he is.
Yeah.
Like they don't. The Empire is literally scared of him. Like at this point, or what's left of the Empire. The different factions of the Empire are scared, which is really well how they played it now. Looking back, if you look at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, how scared Moff Gideon is when he realizes it's Luke. Because he knows, like, oh shoot, this is like the one. This is like Neo stepping in to the Matrix at the end of like that's what this is. Like, so so that happens. Then this is when he starts basically becoming. He wants to fulfill his promise to Yoda because he meets Lorsan Tekka, which is who we meet at the beginning of Episode 7. The older gentleman that Poe meets in the little town before the new
Who
order.
was it?
His name's Lorsan Tekka. He's I don't think he's Force sensitive, but he's a Jedi.
He's a member of the Church of the Force.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when really the new order or the new Jedi Order starts with Luke. At this point, he is kind of combed the entire universe for relics. He's learned as much as he feels. This is also a point you have to understand also. It took about 5 years because at the end of Jedi, he doesn't feel like he's actually a master yet. He still feels like he is just a
Padawan.
No, he's a Jedi Knight at that point, at the end of Jedi. It takes him about 5 years before he truly believes that he's a Jedi Master. And that's when he wants to start building his order. Ben is, even though now we have a little bit of a conflict with it, Ben is technically his first student as far as canon goes, or at least that's how it's portrayed before we got season whatever of Mandalorian Boba Fett, whatever it was that made Grogu his first. Because technically at that time, 8 years it would have been. I think it's 8 years after Jedi Mandalorian happened, so about 9 years maybe after Jedi then. So I guess maybe he would have been kind of starting to think about it at that point, starting the order, his Jedi Order. But actually, that's long.
He was still building the buildings, the HUDs.
But where's Ben though? That Ben would have been almost 10 or 9.
Yeah. Huh.
Wow, that's weird. That's actually weird. Yeah, no, I'm kind of thinking about that now because when he gets Grogu, That's about 9 years after Jedi.
Do they ever actually say how long the Mandalorian is after?
I'm under the impression that
Jedi.
episode 1 is 8 years after
Hold
Jedi.
on. Keep talking.
That's what
I've looked this up, and I want to
I'm
see.
pretty
what
sure
it
it's
is.
8 years after Jedi.
Okay.
Because
Ben was born. I mean,
it would have been within a couple years, yeah.
Right after, almost like.
Right.
I mean,
because she's pregnant after Endor.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now the timeline's kind of messed up. I've told you this, man. When they add all these new characters, or not new characters, but new time stuff that happens within the timeline, we know it's hard to not mess things up, man. It's hard to mess it up.
So
yeah,
Mandalorian technically happens 10 years ABY.
Okay, so.
Okay. Well, the Battle of Yavin is 4 ABY, right?
Yeah.
No, Battle of Yavin is 0.
Is 0. Yeah.
It's 0. I'm sorry.
So.
Yep. Sorry. No, I was.
So that would be 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So Battle of Endor would be 4 ABY, right?
Actually, I think that's right. I think it would be somewhere in there. Yeah.
So it would be.
What's the Battle of Endor?
5 BBY.
The Battle of Endor?
Or the Battle of Endor? Hold on. Endor, the show Andor, sorry.
No, the Battle of Endor. ENDOR. Not Andor. Endor. There's a lot of ors.
Hold on, I gotta find a different one
because I
think gives me
Between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, there are 3 years, and then between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, there's 1 year.
Yeah, I can only find stuff that's like movie or TV show related.
So, Battle of Endor. Why doesn't it give me a 4 ABY Battle of Endor? Yeah. Okay. So, and Mandalorian
is 10 ABY.
Is 10 ABY.
So it would be 6 years then.
So he would still be about 5.
Yeah, he would probably be about 5 years old.
Yeah.
I feel like.
See, that's weird now.
Weird now. I can't remember exactly how old he was when they entrusted him to Luke.
Right. That's the only thing I don't honestly know either.
I can't.
The only thing I do know is that Luke did again feel the darkness within inside Ben and the anger within inside Ben.
Yeah.
More fear than anger, but definitely anger as well. And this is also when Luke becomes aware of Snoke. And his influence on Ben.
Right when he's starting the Order?
No, Ben is 16, 17-ish. I mean, he's older at this point. But it's not long before episode 7 though. Because Ben is 24 in episode 7, 25, I believe. No, he would be older than that because it's 30 years between 6 and 7. Yeah, so he would be older than that, actually. He'd be about 28. Probably 27, 28, 29, somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say he's 29, but
okay,
just off the top of my head.
The only thing that never made sense to me, though, is why Luke would, after he went through to save his father, why just seeing a dream or just seeing a vision out of Ben would have made him want to kill him. Like, that to me just never made sense for Luke as a character. Like, he would just be like, I'm going to give up and just kill him. He would fight for Ben. He would fight for Ben, in my opinion, and not just give up right there.
Especially his nephew.
That's what I mean. It's his blood. He would see the similarities between him and Vader and be like, no, I can't let you do that. So, I don't know. It always bothered me how he just, I'm going to kill you. What? Kill your own nephew because of a vision that might not even happen? Anyway.
Well, he
so,
stops himself.
Yes, he does. He does. But because of his failure with Ben at this point, and he feels like he is a failure, what actually happens in canon is Ben kills all of his students except for a few, which become the Knights of Ren.
And I do want to add something in right there.
Sure. Absolutely.
So in the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, which I actually really enjoyed. I know a lot of people thought they were whatever, but I really enjoyed them. And to me, what it seemed like when the whole school like erupted into flames, I felt like he was standing there and subconsciously did it. Like, yes, he went out and physically killed certain people, but when it came to the whole place kind of erupting, I feel like he was standing there and it was just his brain that did it. I don't feel like he purposefully did that.
And it's definitely possible. Again, Kylo is supposed to be very strong. He's supposed to be very, very force sensitive. So yeah, it's definitely possible for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is one of the big things.
How old is he when this happens? 16, 17?
When that happens, yeah, it's somewhere. He's right before 18. Yeah, he's right around that age when he leaves, or when he almost kills Luke and tries to get the hell out of there.
And so now the Knights of Ren, do they continue to work with Luke or no?
So, well, that's the thing. He actually specifically took younger people from the temple because they weren't as strong in the Force, and he could control them and manipulate them a little easier with the help of Snoke. So, kind of cheated a little bit. He kind of cheated, but he took a little younger people. Is that correct? He sort of targeted more of the younger ones that weren't quite as strong yet.
Well, what I remember is that there was Ren, and so he killed Ren and then was able to sort of take over the Knights of Ren. And then he had several of the other Jedi in training that went after him and tried to stop him.
Okay.
And then he ended up killing one of them at least. It was like this long, slow process of like being okay with killing someone because he wasn't okay with that. Like it took Kylo a long time to really be like, okay, I can do this. But his big thing was killing Ren.
Okay. I'm trying to remember where I got that from then because I thought I saw that or read that somewhere. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good to know. Because and the other thing you have to remember about Kylo too is he has a huge obsession with Vader. Like he is supremely obsessed with Vader. And trying to be the next Vader, which is why he wears the mask without needing it, to breathe and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that goes in with Kylo.
He's a wannabe.
Yeah. But after failing with Ben, ultimately, Luke decides to exile himself to Ahch-To, which is when he does what he does with R2 and leaves the piece of the map in there, and that's sort of right before we pick up with episode 7. I mean, there's not too much that happens with Luke in between.
Now, why did he what was the whole thing R2 was really waiting for? That's what I still never
for him to come back if he did.
Huh? For him to come back? Well,
he was holding the piece of the map that they could use to find Luke if they needed him. Which, again, another part of the story that just doesn't make sense to me. Why leave a piece of the map with R2 and then when they come and find you, you're like, I don't want to help you. What was the point? What was the point of leaving the piece of the map?
The point was like if they needed you, but like why was R2
It's weird,
powered
dude.
down?
It's weird.
Like that's also the other thing. Like why was R2 powered down?
I mean, I don't really think I know exactly why he was. I mean, I wouldn't even. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
I mean, he has quite a personality, so perhaps he was just really depressed.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, if you really like in the canon, you have to also remember R2 is next to him all the time. Like when he's doing all these things, it's him and R2 and an X-wing going around the galaxy doing all this stuff. So, you know, that's his best friend. I mean, that's why we get that great moment with them in 8 where R2 he's sitting in the Falcon and R2 comes in and he's like, R2, like we get that real emotion out of him. You know, the one time I really think we get actual Luke out of Mark Hamill in the sequel trilogy. So is that moment with him and R2, because they are sort of Han and Chewie. I mean, they really are. So yeah,
I understood that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying like I understood their dynamic like that.
But why does he actually turn himself off? Yeah, I don't I don't know. Because Luke isn't there. And yeah, again, R2 does feel emotions. I mean, there's a lot of times where, you know, especially in the original trilogy, like C-3PO's like language. Like, I mean, R2 is he's not just like a normal droid, just beep, boop, 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 boop. And like, it's just thing. He's really saying stuff. Yeah.
And then I think right behind him is Chopper.
Chopper's Chopper's my man.
I love Chopper.
Wait to see Chopper in live action, dude. I'm so excited for it. So good.
I'm so excited. But,
awesome.
Okay, so how many
questions, sir? Questions.
Yes. So does anyone survive when Ren kills his school?
Few.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know the exact number, but yes, there are.
Now,
people
what does Luke do anything with them?
They go after trying to chase Ben down.
Okay.
And
but they don't know Luke's alive at that point, right?
Yeah, they don't know Luke's alive. They think he's dead.
Because when we see Luke
in that.
Right, because if you remember the flashback from the sequel trilogy, it just shows Luke and R2 sitting there in front of the temple burning and all that. They thought he was dead. They thought Luke was dead, and they left. So they didn't. Okay. It's not like Luke sent them after Ben. They just went after Ben. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. What else do I have here? So now, how much interaction between Poe's family and Luke did they actually have? Was it like a really in-depth relationship?
I mean, he knew them in the rebellion, but I think they really only did that one mission together. Okay. But I mean, I'm sure they did other things too. I mean, yeah.
And why specifically was he telling them to leave? Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
Go ahead, Marie. Yeah.
Just because he respected the fact that they had a kid and that they needed to not raise him in a dangerous situation. So it was just him trying to look out for them, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was just I wanted to make sure there wasn't like a deeper meaning or something like that behind it.
You got to think too, though. Like he's like. So think of like when Neo comes back to Zion and they all run up to him and they're all like, "Oh my God, like you saved us all." That's kind of how Luke is looked at. He is like this, like not supernatural, but he's looked at as like this like mythical figure that can do things that no human can, because there's no at this point. There's no Jedi around. Like at least we thought there was no other Jedi around. So nobody's seen this in 25, 30 years. You know, since episode 3. So he's sort of mythicized almost in the rebellion and amongst the people that follow that, you know, the rebellion and stuff, because he took down Vader. I mean, Vader is considered like a dark entity to the rebellion and to like people during the Empire times, because he just shows up, kills people, and leaves. Like disappears. Like that's literally what Vader does. He just shows up, kills people, and leaves. So they thought he was literally like a ghost, like a, you know, not, but you know what I mean. Like he was just like 100%. This entity that would just show up and just wreak havoc and then be gone. So yeah, they kind of get mythicized in that sense, at least by the people, because the people are like, oh my god, he helped save us. He took down the Death Star by himself, like those are the kind of stories they're telling about Luke,
So now, and throughout this entire time, is he like being visited by Force ghosts and stuff like that?
Ooh.
Go ahead. Yeah, no,
So,
absolutely.
okay.
Go ahead. This is the fun part.
I was about to show you my Kindle, which doesn't really do much good. In Shadows of the Sith, or
Yes.
Shadow of the Sith,
Mhm.
Anakin visits Luke.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a really kind of in and out conversation, and it doesn't last very long because Luke got like sucked into this real vision from Exegol, and it took every ounce of Anakin's energy to get him out of that sort of vision. So he was sort of like flickering in and out, trying to tell Luke that there was something bad coming, but it was really cool. I was like, oh my god,
Is that the
he
only
actually talked to
time?
Anakin.
Is that the only time him and Anakin have like ever like an interaction? Besides,
I mean, we have to assume no, only because Anakin's there at the end of Jedi with Yoda and Obi-Wan. So we have
true.
to assume no. I mean, we know for sure he was talking to Yoda until he decided to exile himself. He was definitely talking to Obi-Wan. I mean, so I don't see why not. But we don't know for sure. I mean, we don't know exactly. Yeah, there's nothing in canon. That's the best way to say it. There's just no confirmation one way or the other. But you would assume yes. I mean,
okay.
But again, Anakin, man, I just want that movie. I want that movie so bad. You have no
I know what
idea.
he's talking about.
I
He wants a moment where it's Luke, Ahsoka, and Darth Vader.
No, Anakin. I want that conversation. Just 1 hour and a half of them in a room having a conversation. That's all I want.
I would watch that.
I would absolutely watch that. Yeah, absolutely watch that. Oh my god, I just want to see. I don't even want Anakin there. Just them two talking about Anakin, like her giving her perspective of Anakin and him giving his perspective of Anakin.
Do you think we could possibly get that in Ahsoka?
I doubt it, dude. They're not brave enough to do stuff like that. Dude, when you say Boba Fett is too inside baseball, you think they're going to give us an Anakin and or a Luke and Ahsoka conversation? No way. It sucks, but we need it because I just want to see. I just want her face. I want to see her face when he tells her I brought him back, and I want to see his face when she's like, he was a great warrior, like he was my best friend, he was my big brother, like just exactly. Exactly. Just tell Luke about the Clone Wars, and I just want to see them two have that conversation. Like I so badly want to see it. Yeah, it's tears from beginning to end. I'm crying the entire time. Yeah, no, I'm crying the entire time. The entire time.
He like almost gets in tears thinking about it.
Because you know what's another funny thing about it? So do you at the end of Jedi, there is a guy that is has a white beard.
Yeah.
That is confirmed to be Rex. So Luke and Anakin both know Rex, and obviously so does Ahsoka. So they could not only have conversations about that, but they could also be talking about Rex at that point, because Luke has met Rex technically. Yeah. I stand by it. They're friends. But no, there's just a lot that they could have like them two especially could have a really deep conversation, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Especially about Anakin. But yeah, I would just love to see that. But yeah, I mean, dude, what do you think? I mean, Luke is like he's insane at this time, man. Like he's doing stuff that nobody's ever seen before.
I completely have a different perspective of, because like, don't get me wrong, I knew he was a powerful and I knew he was all this, but I didn't know all of this ensued afterwards. I knew obviously he did the school, but what led up to the school, the relics, that's another thing. So what happened to all the relics he found? Where did they go? What happened to those?
I mean, he has them at the temple as far as I know. they all burned in the town. Most of them burned that Ben didn't steal. I think Ben stole some stuff.
Okay.
I know he stole Vader's helmet.
That was
Stole
there?
Vader. Yeah. Because Luke took it after they burned Vader's body, or and on Endor, he took the helmet. Which again, that was one thing that fueled Ben so much, because Snoke used the helmet to talk to Ben as Vader. That's another thing that not that people don't know it, but Luke or Snoke, and he says it at the end of the new trilogy, where he's like, I manipulated you, basically. That was me. It was Palpatine doing it. But he was the voice of Snoke and Vader and all that in his head, telling him to do all these things. So so like when he's talking to the Vader helmet in the episode 7, more than likely he's talking to Palpatine. Palpatine's controlling him or talking to him as Vader at that point.
At any point, so Han Solo's being this kind of fuckboy to his sister. Does at any point he go like
Han Solo?
try and have,
what?
Huh?
What do you mean?
Because he left after he left Leia, like, and just after Ben left and all that. Did they ever have like a?
Well, I mean, we see them come back together. Yeah, I mean,
that part, yes. But I'm saying, did Han and did Luke ever try and go have a conversation with them after everything happened with Ben?
I mean, he kept in contact with them, but I don't know if. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure.
The thing is, Luke blamed himself, so that's why that's why he went into exile, because he blamed himself. So
that.
Once he cut himself off, then no. Yeah, after that, no, he didn't have any contact after that.
Okay.
So there wouldn't have been that, but I'm assuming before he did that, yes, I'm assuming he had conversations with them. Again, it's here. We can say yes or no, but we don't. Yeah, it's just not confirmed one way or the other. So
just questions popping into my head.
Yeah. Oh no, believe me, it's all questions that we have too. Believe me, we all have these questions. No, they're all questions that we have too, for sure. Yeah,
I think.
Like I said, to me, the one thing that just never made sense is why he went into exile. I just don't see Luke giving up.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
that's what
so
I was going to
weird
say. I would see he would want to rectify it, not just like exile himself.
Yeah.
Especially completely cut himself off from the Force.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention, if he knew how powerful Snoke was, and he knew how powerful Ben was, he would also know that he's the only one at that time that could stop them. And for him to exile himself just doesn't make sense. Where it's like, I'm the only one that can do it, so I better hide.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna let him deal with it.
That doesn't sound like Luke to me at all. The guy that walked on to the Death Star, at the Battle of Endor, like, take me to Palpatine. It's cool. Let's go.
I'm gonna let him deal
That's
with it.
the guy that's just like, I don't want to fight you anymore. It's weird. Still one of my favorite characters, but just they messed him up so much for me in the new trilogy.
No.
They did. They really ruined him for me in the new trilogy. Because I just don't understand that decision. Like, it's so weird to me how the guy that fought for his father's life, would just give up on his own blood so easily.
Which I do agree with.
Yeah.
That is a bit like, what are you doing?
And they say that, he just, a lot of people try to explain it off by saying that he just felt like he was just redoing the mistakes of the past, and that's why he did it. But again, Luke wasn't that. He never thought that way. He always thought that there was a better way to do things. And if he would have thought that he did something wrong, he would have tried to do whatever he could to correct it. I feel like, again, this is just the way I see the character, and that. So,
but knows? I mean, honestly, from what we've been shown, that would be the case.
Right.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Well, because there's stories as far as, and this is Legends, this isn't canon, but also at this time, Luke met Mara Jade, fell in love, and got away from that part of the whole Jedi dogma. Now, again, that's not canon, but that is one of the things that he was really big about was, love is part of being a Jedi. So to cut Jedi off from that was part of the reason he felt like the Jedi lost their way. under Yoda and all them, during the Empire time, or under Palpatine and all that. So,
Which is, it's interesting in Shadow of the Sith, Luke is very dogmatic with detachment and
Yep.
being as Jedi as possible. And
yeah,
I don't
it's
like the
very
Jedi
different.
that much because I don't agree with
Yeah,
being all detached and not having, I guess, feelings and emotions for
Yeah.
people. Like that just has always been like, why?
Well, I
But
think one of the best lines in Star Wars is when Anakin says to Padme, that Jedi are meant, they're not supposed to love, but compassion is one of their big things, and he says that's ultimate love, which
yeah,
I think is really sums it up. I mean, it is true. You can't not love the people that you want to save and protect. So yeah, it's very muddled in that sense for sure. Yeah, because Luke is, there are stories of Luke being very dogmatic, but there's stories of Luke being very, different from the original Jedi. So it's hard now, man, because once they said this is canon now and this is all that's canon, everything has just muddied the waters, I feel like, since then. Where there's so many great legend stories that they could have just kept and it wouldn't have made it so confusing.
Yeah, because now they're trying to rewrite everything into what's canon and make it all make sense. And some things are, as we have pointed out tonight, a bit eerie.
Yeah.
And it's like the Ahsoka novel, like there are multiple parts of it that aren't technically canon anymore because of the Clone Wars, because of Tales of the Jedi. Like, there are multiple situations where that novel, which is brilliant, has been
it's a great novel.
Muddled. So
yeah, well, her as a character in general, in my opinion, has been so muddled because, I mean, and I know I've beat this horse so much, but her and Luke should be the ones walking into the Death Star, the throne room against Palpatine and Vader at the end of Episode 6. Like, it should be Luke and Ahsoka facing Vader and Palpatine. She's around, she's alive. How would she not want to take down her old master with Luke, his son? Like, that to me makes no sense. Once you add her into the story, and I love Ahsoka, I can't wait, cannot wait for Ahsoka, but her being added into Clone Wars, and now with everything we've got from her since, it's muddied that story up so much that especially after Rebels, seeing her fight Vader the way she does and being saved by Ezra, there's no way she wouldn't want that chance again to go in there with Luke and be like, no, let's have this fight. Let's finally do this. And I got your son with me. Like, come on, Anakin.
Come on, Annie.
It's just moments like that obviously we could have never got at that time because Ahsoka wasn't even thought of.
Right.
But it's things that now we're missing out on because of things being added in later. And it's so frustrating sometimes because, man, that would have been, if that thing would have, the elevator would have opened up and it's Anakin and Luke and Ahsoka standing there instead of Vader bringing Luke up to Palpatine. Man, that plays so much bigger now with everything we have with Clone Wars, Rebels, and all that stuff. That scene plays so much bigger now with that, for sure.
It would be way more impactful.
Yeah. But I mean, if Yoda's out there teaching Luke, I can't imagine that Ahsoka doesn't know that, doesn't sense that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying Ahsoka is Luke level, powerful. I know that, but she would sense her old master's son and old. I don't know, maybe not because of Dagobah. I know why Yoda.
That's what I was going to say. He was on maybe Dagobah, not,
but
there was no.
But still, even after Jedi, or after Empire, he's out doing stuff. Like, he's doing things. So I would think she would. I just feel like she would know he's out there somewhere, or he would know her. She would know she's out there more than anything, I guess. Wouldn't you think? He's more powerful, so he would feel her. Be like, who is this? Who
Yeah,
is
but
this
he
Jedi
might not
person?
know the relationship that she had, so he might not really care.
Yeah, no,
like
that's fair.
when. Well, I guess she was working with Hera's crew.
She was working with, yeah, she was part of the rebellion.
Yeah. No,
There's
you're
no
right.
way they wouldn't have known about each
Yeah.
other.
No,
There's-
that's. Yeah, I'm like, maybe they met later, but then I'm like, wait a second.
it's weird. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when you really think. But again, because of when it was made, and I get why it is, but it's just so weird to me. Like, it's like if they ever tried to bring Mace back, well, then where's he at? Like, where was he this whole time? You know what I mean? Like, if they try to do that, it's like, come on.
I hate it because I would love to see Mace Windu come back because I just feel like they could go so many cool ways with that character. But yeah, it would just be so ridiculous. It would be like, where the hell has he been? What the hell has he been doing?
Well, one of my favorites is there's one. I think this is Legends now, but it was Mace comes back as a dark side. He comes back as the dark, corrupted by the dark side somehow. Again, I don't think it's definitely not canon, but I know there is a story out there of that. Maybe it was like some fantasy, somebody just coming up with a story, but I do remember seeing it. It was a pretty good story though. He was coming after Vader. I'm pretty sure he was going after Vader because he found out that he was Anakin.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how the story went now though, but there's definitely cool stuff they could do with Mace if they ever bring him back. But please don't, Star Wars, just stop. Just there's 65 years you just can't touch. There's 25,000 years you can touch.
Yeah.
Just don't touch 65 years of
Yeah.
history. Like, just leave it alone. That's all I ask. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Oh God. But no. So I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to add, Marie, that you could think of about Luke in this time?
So the whole premise of Shadow of the Sith is actually really, really interesting because Luke and Lando go off on a mission to protect a mother, a father, and a little girl from Ochi of Bestoon, aka Rey. And I'm still working on getting through it, but halfway through the book, and it is so good, and it just blows my mind. I'm like, wait a second, he was trying to protect Rey like when she was 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you remember in episode 9 when they meet Lando, he's on that planet. Well, that planet is where they originally escaped from, or part of where they escaped from, because the ship they go to is the ship that Palpatine's clone son or grandson, whatever he is, was on. Yeah, with his wife and then Rey, which was his granddaughter. So yeah, so that was Lando basically stayed there after that mission for some weird reason. Nobody really knows why. He just kind of stayed and hung out for 30 years or whatever, 20 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, another character that just does something completely out of character. The most charismatic, womanizing, not even womanized, but just woman's man type person just decided to stay on a planet randomly and stop traveling.
I think part of it may just be that he had basically exhausted his energy in trying to find his kidnapped daughter.
Yeah.
And was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And we get that sort of hint that that's who that is at the end of episode 9, but not really, but maybe.
Are they ever going to do the Lando show?
Apparently, but I don't know.
Are they going to
want that show so bad.
Oh, I do too.
They better get Donald Glover to play him.
It sucks, yeah, because I wish they would have done it a few years ago when Billy D could have still done it, because I would have liked to have seen sort of like him in the beginning of each episode, sort of telling a story about a
Yep.
mission, and then it just kind of fading into Donald Glover,
Yep.
playing out the episode. So I thought that would have been a cool idea if they could have did it that way, but I don't think they will now, because if you've seen him especially like Celebration, it's getting tough for him. I feel bad because he's getting up there in age. Yeah, it sucks. I love Billy D. I got to go see him in Celebration in Orlando when I went to the panel with him and Warwick Davis. Really fun.
Wow.
It was a really fun one. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, they because
awesome.
they obviously they're really good friends, so they jab at each other. But yeah, those two back and forth was really fun to watch. So, yeah, Billy D's just a cool dude. Like, yeah, he's just such a smooth, like, chill, cool dude, man. It's hard not to like that guy. It's hard not to.
That's why, like, and to be honest, that's why Donald Glover was such a great pick, because he's such a charismatic and smooth talking,
so great
actor.
Yeah. No, he was great as Lando. He was perfect as Lando. Yeah. Them not how he hasn't shown back up as Lando is weird to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows what'll happen? But yeah, I guess that's really all we have, man. I mean, there's a lot more. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more, especially with the relic. I mean, that stuff you can go into, and I mean, he finds everything from, ancient stuff to super ancient stuff to just anything Jedi Sith related. He collects and tries to learn more as much as he can, because basically the way the Force works, and a lot of people understand it this way, is the more you know is what makes you powerful. So, like, the more you learn is what actually makes you powerful. It's not really the practice of it. It's the learning of it, the reading the text, the, meditating, that kind of stuff is what actually makes you stronger in the Force. It's not really practicing it. I say that with quotes, but because you are practicing, it's your mind. You're practicing. Your mind is what's practicing, not your actual body.
Yeah.
So, and with a lot of things in the Force. So, yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. George Lucas went crazy once him and Filoni got together, man. Them two just decided to start writing, and we got midichlorians, and you put those two together in a room and you get midichlorians. So I love them to death, but yeah, we got midichlorians out of that too. So you gotta love them. Gotta love it all. But yeah, man. Like I said, there's just so much that that happens. But basically, what you have to think, I think the best way to, in my opinion, up until we get to the sequel trilogy, the best way to remember Luke, in my opinion, is he was trying to be the Neo of Star Wars. That's kind of what he was. He was trying to reunite, rebalance the Force, because he felt like he failed. He felt like he failed after, with losing his father and killing Palpatine. He actually felt like he failed. Like he didn't feel like he brought balance back to the Force. Plus, I don't know if Luke knows the prophecy. Does Luke know the prophecy? I don't believe he ever was told the prophecy by Obi-Wan or Yoda of Anakin.
Yeah.
I think he thought he was the one that restored. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to remember. I'd have to go back through. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, though, that they never told him about Anakin being the one. So that was supposed to be the one to fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah.
Maybe they did afterwards, because they were both dead by that point. Yoda and Obi-Wan were gone.
Yeah.
So maybe once he brought Anakin back, they told him. Yeah, I don't know. So that's, who knows? There's all kinds of stuff you talk about with that. But let's end this, guys. Marie, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
They can find me on Twitter at Alia Morgaine, and on YouTube I have Afra's Artifacts, which is a queer Star Wars YouTube channel.
Yes, great.
And I post videos Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central.
Okay. Ooh. Yes. Padawan Frito, still Padawan.
Yeah, you don't gotta rub it in.
No, so where can everybody find you out there?
You can find me at Padawan Frito on Twitch, Twitter, and the Instagrams. You can also find me here on Jedi Academies on Thursdays or Fridays, whenever we post these nowadays. And then, oh no, it's got to be on Fridays because Thursdays are the what do you call my gaming in the multiverse show. That's where you can find me all.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and do that. No, guys. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jedi Master Tuck. You can also find me here pretty much every night on a lot of crazy stuff we have going on. Gaming in the Multiverse, Jedi Academy, our Geekdom Uncut, Geeking Out, and we also have Titans Season 2 coming, guys, very soon. We are sort of in the beginning talking about that, so please look out for that. We will have some announcements coming out soon for that. So, and check out the Facebook groups, guys, Benverse and the Multiverse of Geekdom. But yeah, guys, for Padawan Frito and Marie, this is the Jedi Academy, and we are done. Bye, guys.
Wah, 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 wah.